Welcome back. Today we are going to discuss last 25 questions of economy. So look at the 76th question. With reference to the government's reform initiatives related to the energy crisis, consider the following statements. Here you should know what is energy crisis. Energy crisis means a great blockage in supply of energy resources to an economy. It means what? For example, take to Indian economy to increase its growth rate, it requires 100 gigawatts, for example, but daily it's getting only 90 gigawatts. So there is deficit of 10 gigawatts. So India is facing crisis, energy crisis. Okay. Now question is, what are the causes for this energy crisis? There are various causes. You can say overconsumption, you can say growing population, you can say poor infrastructure, and discoms means distribution companies are facing financial crunch, etc. There are various reasons for this energy crisis. Okay, so what government has done to resolve this energy crisis is the question now. Government has done many things. One, allowing private players to take part in power generation, allowing private players to take part in distribution and transmission of power, and opening foreign investments in power sector means FDI, and establishing regulatory mechanism, that is central and state electricity regulatory commissions, etc. You should know these steps, what steps government has taken. Moreover, government has came up with many other schemes also, Saubhagya schemes and promotion of renewable energy and electricity for all machine, like that. So many steps, schemes also government has implemented. Now let's see the options. Option 1, both central and state electricity regulatory commission has been established. This is true, as we discussed. And foreign direct investment has been allotted into the power sector to meet the growing demand for electricity. This is also true. So they are asking which of the above statements is are incorrect. So answer is D, because both are correct. So come to the 77th question. Consider the following statements regarding the power consumption. Which sector consumes more? It's industrial sector. We all should know. Okay. And come to the options. In India, the commercial sources of energy contributes the largest share to the total consumed energy. Commercial sources of energy means what? There are two sources of energy, one commercial, one non-commercial. What will come under commercial? Coal, oil, lignite, etc. Which will come under non-commercial? Wood, cow dung, etc. Okay, so what is the option? In India, commercial sources of energy contribute the largest share of the total energy consumed. Obviously it's true, because coal itself you take, it contributes more than 50% of energy generation, means electricity generation. So this is true. And we use oil for electricity generation, transportation, and etc. So obviously this is correct. During the post independence period, the transportation was the largest consumer of commercial energy. This is wrong. Not transportation, it's industries. After that, transportation. Industry consumes more than 50%. So answer is this is wrong. So this is right. Which is incorrect. So answer is B. They're asking which of the statements given above is or incorrect. So answer is B. So come to the 78th question. Consider the following statements regarding unorganized sector. What is unorganized sector? You should know the definition. Definition is if a company employs less than 10%, then that company is known as unorganized person. Unorganized sector, there are many definitions for unorganized sector, which all will come under unorganized sector. You can say fisheries, weavers. Example I'm giving: BD workers, leather workers, plantation laborers, etc. Why there is a differentiation between unorganized and organized sector in the country? You should also know this, because organized means, see, something is very well organized means what? If something is unorganized, something is organized means what? There are rules to organize and regulations to organize, norms to organize. You have to follow this. If you don't follow, then you will be called it as you are unorganized person. So this is the differentiation between unorganized and organized, right? And you also seen now what is the definition of in unorganized sector: less than 10 people working in a company. That can be tea shop owner, tea shop worker, whatever, mechanic, whatever, etc. Weaver, BD maker, whatever. Now come to the options. It is characterized by small scattered units which are largely outside the control of government. Obviously it is unorganized. When a person is not following rules, what we call is unorganized fellow. He don't organize his bed properly, he don't organize his room properly, he don't organize his books properly. So he don't follow norms of the society, right? Likewise, if a company or if a shop or any worker not following any rules, if they don't have any rules, you can say that if they don't have any rules to follow, if they don't have any regulations to follow or policy to follow, then that will come under unorganized sector. So it is correct. And there are no rules and regulations by the government to be followed. Yes, this is also correct. So answer is C. Now come to the 79th question. Consider the following statements regarding microcredit program. What is the famous microcredit program that government has launched recently? We all know. It has launched during COVID-19 phase 1, means what, in 2020? That is what? Pradhan Mantri Street Vendor Atmanirbhar Nidhi. Okay, this is one of the schemes of microcredit programs in India. You should know it. Okay, this is for street vendors of rural area or urban area. It doesn't differentiate between rural or urban. This scheme talks about it will give 10,000 rupees for a street vendor. He have to repay in a year. You can read about the scheme on internet later on. Come to this question. Microcredit is a loan of a very small account. Yes, this is true, because 10,000 is very small. It is given only to the rural poor. Here itself it's wrong, because just now I said it is rural and urban. It doesn't differentiate at least this scheme. So it is wrong. You no need to read even the entire statement also. And the microcredit is provided to those individuals who lack collateral, steady employment and verifiable credit history. This is true because take example of street vendors itself. Do you think they have collateral? If they have collateral means what? Collateral means what? It is security you submit to the bank or any lender who keep that and he gives you loan. If you don't pay the loan, he will take back your collateral and he will sell it off. So this is a collateral. If he have collateral, why he'll do street vending job? And if steady employment, if he have steady employment, why he will work as street vendor? Verifiable credit history. No, verifiable credit history means he must be taking loan with financial institutions. If he is able to take loans, so many loans with financial institutions, he won't be a street vending, right? He must be some businessman, at least medium businessman, medium scale businessman, whatever. So this is true. So answer is, second one is wrong, so answer is B. Come to the 80 question. Consider the following statements regarding bilateral trade. So what is bilateral trade? Take example, India and Pakistan. If PM of Pakistan and PM of India meets in Shanghai Cooperation Organization, they conduct between these two countries bilateral. They agree to sit for bilateral talks. In these talks, they talks about the trade. Okay. If this trade agreement was signed by the two countries, what this trade agreement will say? Pakistan will ask to India, you have to facilitate trade opportunities for our Pakistani investors. Okay. What Indian Prime Minister will say? Will say that you also have to facilitate opportunities, same opportunities whatever I am giving to you for Indian investors. So if the both countries agree, then the agreement will be signed. Okay. Then these will be negotiated by whom? These will be negotiated by respective countries' commerce department and heads of the commerce departments and many other people. And come to now options. Under the bilateral trade, equal trade opportunities are given to the both the countries involved in the agreement. This is true. Okay. Under bilateral trade, individual negotiation is necessitated with each country. This is also true. So answer is C. So come to the 81st question. Frequently seen in news the term chronic poor. Here you should know what is the definition of chronic. It is a prolonged. You can say chronic disease. Chronic disease means it's a disease for lifelong. Like chronic poor means lifelong he will be in poor state only. Okay. So what is the options? People who are always poor. Okay, this is correct. People who are usually poor but who may sometimes have a little more money. This is wrong. And people who regularly move in and out of poverty, wrong. Both A and B, this is wrong. Answer is A, because chronic itself is prolonged. Prolonged means you will be always poor. It's actually, if you know the definition of chronic, it's actually testing your vocabulary. That's it. If you know the definition of chronic, then your answer will be A. So come to the 82nd question. Cotton fibers are produced through natural process, then a cloth is weaved through these fibers. Which of the following activities are involved in this? Primary and secondary and tertiary, and primary and tertiary and secondary only. Cotton fibers. Here you should know what is cotton fibers. It is directly obtained from the plant. Okay, so it relates to the agriculture, you can say, or plant agriculture. So are produced to natural process, then a cloth is waved through these fibers. How cloth is waved here? By using machineries or missionaries. Okay, so which of the following activities are involved in this? So agriculture is primary and using machinery is secondary. So answer is A. You cannot say that tertiary, because in tertiary, if this thing was sold in the market, the cloth, then you can say this is service, right? Then you can say this also you can include. So answer is for now A. Now come to the 83rd question. Consider the following pairs. Capitalist economy. Goods are distributed on the basis of the need of the people. What is capitalist economy? Capitalist economy, or economy which is run by the private players. What private players will do? Private players will produce what consumer wants. Okay, and he will distribute these according to his profits. Socialist economy. What is socialist economy? It is completely controlled by the government. Government will decide what people have to eat, what they have to wear, and everything, and it will decide to whom it have to distribute, among to whom distribute. It will decide. Mixed economy means socialist plus capitalist approach. Means what? Government will be involved and private players also will be involved. Okay, these are the explanation of these three types of economy. Now, capitalist economy, goods are distributed on the basis of the needs of the people. This is wrong. Not distributed on the basis of profit, you can say. Otherwise, goods are produced on the basis of needs of the people. Socialist economy, the government decides how goods are to be produced and how they should be distributed, correct. Mixed economy, goods are produced by both public and private entities. Which of the above pairs is or incorrectly matched? Obviously this is wrong, so answer is A. Come to the 84th question. Consider the following statements regarding underemployment. What is underemployment? This is one type of unemployment. In the last video I have explained that you should know what is unemployment, definition, and types of unemployment, and which organizations are responsible for publishing unemployment data, under which ministry these organizations fall, and are these organizations are statutory or non-statutory bodies. You should know. If you know these 5 points, then you can solve any type of questions. Now come to the question. They are asking about underemployment. employment is a type of unemployment. Okay, underemployment is what? You working below your potential. You're not, means you are, example you can take, you are an engineer. You are an engineer, but you are working in an agriculture sector for very less wage. Here the question is, why you are working under agriculture sector? Because in economy there are lack of opportunities for you. You are forced to do agriculture work. This can be one reason. There are many other reasons also. You might be an graduate, but you might be lacking skills also. So you don't have any other way than working for some very less job, very less paid jobs. Anyway, this is known as underemployment. Underemployment is you are highly educated person and you have high skills in other sector, but you are working in another sector where you don't have skills but you are earning very less amount. And this is actually the main issue of Indian economy. This is not said by me, it is said by Niti Aayog report. So that's why the question has been asked here now. So come to the option 1. It is a situation when people work less than their potential. True. The workers in the agriculture sector in India are underemployed. True. Because I just now explained, in an economy there are no IT jobs, no manufacturing jobs, nothing, but all the graduates are forced to go and work in the agriculture sector. So they are obviously they are studied for some other thing, they are working in another field which they don't know anything. So you can say that they are underemployed. Now come to the 85th question. With reference to the economic infrastructure, what is economic infrastructure? You can say roads, power, ports, and transportation, and airports, electricity, infrastructure, etc. All these things comes under the economic infrastructure. There will be another infrastructure called social infrastructure. The social infrastructure is education, health, and shelter, etc. So you should know what is difference between social infrastructure and economic infrastructure. Now come to the question, which of the following statement is correct? They are asking. What is the first option? It is incomplete without human development. Obviously, though, take example, though you have constructed roads, you have excellent electricity infrastructure, you have excellent airports and port connectivity, everything you have, but now you don't have, in other side you don't have human development, very low quality education, low quality health of the people, no shelters, etc. If you don't have these things, do you think investors, think you are an investor, do you think you will go to a country like this and go and invest in this country? No, right? Because once if you invest, you need skilled people to work for your company, and so you won't get skilled people here, so you will not go and invest. When you don't go and invest here, what happens? Employment will not generate. When employment doesn't generate, what happens? National per capita income automatically will reduce, right? And poverty will increase, and burden on government will increase. Okay, so it is incomplete without human development. Human development matters a lot. And next option is, it improves the quality of economic resources and raises the production level. Yes, this is true. By understanding the importance of economic infrastructure, recently government has launched which one? National infrastructure pipeline. Its aim is to build brown field and green field developments, and it aim to spend 102 lakh crores rupees on various sectors like power sector, road sector, railways, urban transportation, ports, and airports, irrigation, etc. So you should know about this because it is in news. So answer is C. C, yes. Come to the 86th question. Which of the following characteristics characterizes the informal sector credit in India? What is informal sector? Formal and informal. Formal means organized, informal means unorganized. Now we will see what are the options. High interest rate, obviously this is correct. Debt trap, this is correct. And easy credit access, this is also correct. Difficult credit access, so this is wrong. Why I'm saying this is correct? Imagine you are a coffee shop owner, and here your friend is multinational company CEO. You will go to SBI manager, this guy also will come to SBI manager for a loan. Okay, SBI manager will think once, who is secured for him to give loan? Obviously he will feel that MNC CEO is secure, whereas he feels that shopping or coffee shop owner is unsecure, because this guy have lot of money, he will earn lot of money, he thinks he will repay me fast then compared to coffee shop owner. So what this SBI, here the risk is involved, here the less risk is involved. Here the more risk is there, here less risk is there. What he does, he increases, he gives very high, he gives you loan definitely, but at high interest rate. He gives loan to this guy with less interest rate because risk is less here risk is more. To cover that risk, he collect money through interest rates. So answer A1 is right. And debt trap, obviously he will give you loan to the coffee shop owner, but there is no guarantee he may repay, right? Because it is informal sector, it may run, it may not run. But MNC, which have lot of funding, which has reputation, everything, so it here also risk is there. He may not give back the loan, he may not pay back the loan, but that risk is very less. So debt traps will be very less in this case. Here the debt traps will be very more. So answer is R2 is correct here. And easy credit access. Easy credit access is wrong, because it is very difficult for a shop owner to get access to credit. So answer is 1 and 2 B. Come to the 87th question. Consider the following statements regarding India's trade policy before the economic reforms of 1991. It's asking about the before. Quantitative restrictions were encouraged through the tight control over the imports and by high tariff rates. This is true, because see, economic reforms happened in 1991. Why it happened? If everything is correct, then there is no need of reforms, right? If economy is growing very well, if every private players are encouraged, if money is flowing in the economy, okay, if everything is happening, if everybody is happy, then there is no need of reforms itself. Because the economy is going to collapse, then the Indian government is forced to take the reforms. This is one of the conditions by the IMF kept before lending to India. That is different case. Okay, so they are forced to take the reforms. Why they took the reforms? Because the one of the main reason why Indian economy has been was in bad condition, because there is no industrial activity which can provide good employment and good income to the people and to the contribute to the national development. Why there is no great industrial growth? Because there is no competition, because the industries are completely dominated by the public sector, and exports and imports became very difficult, because government, to protect the industries, PSUs, they started imposing high tariff on the foreign country goods to discourage people from buying foreign country goods, and encouraging them to buy only domestic industries goods. So option 1 is correct. Imposition of tariffs increased the prices of import goods, which in turn discouraged the consumption of these goods. This is true. So answer is C. Now come to the 88th question. Consider the following statements under the strategic sale. You should know this investment has strategic sale, non-strategic sale, and outright sale, you can say. Okay, here government will sell off majority of its shares, that is 50% or more than 50%, and here it will hand over its management to the company which is buying the shares. These company can be private or public sector. Non-strategic sale means it will sell just 4%, 5%, 10%, 9%, below 50%, with the aim to raise revenue through disinvestment. It doesn't involve any privatization. Means what? Handing over management to the private players. Here, outright sale. Outright sale means government companies are converted into private companies. So now come to the options. Under the strategic sales, the government withdraws its ownership and management from the public sector company. Yes, this is true. If the government is selling to the private player. Okay. An outright sale is a way by which the government companies are converted into private companies. This is also true. Answer is C. Come to the 89th question. Consider the following statement regarding working women in India. More number of working women are found in rural areas than urban areas. Here it doesn't matter whether you know this fact or not. You should know only one thing, that agriculture employs more number of person than any other sector. If you know this, and you should know that agriculture is keep on becoming feminization of agriculture because more women are involving in agriculture sector. If you know this, then you can easily say that more number of working women are found in rural areas, and women engaged in household activities comes under worker category. This is wrong because everybody knows our mothers working day and night at home, but do they are getting paid for their work? No, right? So they are not considered as workers. Not considered as workers. Why? Worker means person who earns for his work. He will be termed as worker. So answer is 2. 2 is wrong, 1 is right. Answer is A. Come to the 90. Question number 90. Which of the following statement is are correct regarding collateral? Just now I have explained about the collateral. Collateral is that can be land document, livestock document, or some other, you have bank account statement, whatever. All these things becomes collateral. You will go and submit this to bank or other financial institutions or other money lender. Okay, these person by taking these collaterals, they will give you loan money, and if you fail to repay this money, they will sell off these collaterals and get back their money whatever they have lent to you. So question options. It is an asset that a lender owns and uses it as guarantee to a borrower until the loan is repaid. True. If the borrower fails to repay the loan, the lender can sell the assets or collateral to obtain the payment. This is also true. Property such as land title, deposits with banks, livestock are some examples of collateral. This is also true. Answer is D. 91st. which of the following statement is or not correct regarding global burden of disease? It is an indicator assess mortality and disability from the major disease injuries and risk factors. True. In India, more than half of GBD is accounted for non-communicable disease only. This is also true. So answer is not correct, means D. Consider the following statement regarding industrial sector in India after the independence. It contributes to the GDP of India. Its contribution to the GDP of India increased significantly from 1950 to 1990. This is true. It is a fact, you should know it. If you don't know also, you can actually guess. Obviously after 1991 so many reforms we took. Okay, it is asking after till 1990, right? Even though till 1990 also, if you think from 1950 to 1990, there are many reforms that government has taken through planning to increase the efficiency of industries, and industries also has done pretty well. They have grown, I guess no, around 6% annual growth. Okay, so they have done pretty well, so it is correct. If you want the correct facts, I can also give. That is 1950. In 1950 they contributed to GDP 11%. In 1990 they contributed to GDP 24%. Indian industries are restricted largely to their cotton, textiles and jute mills till 1990. This is wrong, because it is till 1900s, means we can say okay fine, this is correct, but this is 1990, right? There are many iron and steel industries came, NTPCs came, and many other industries came, chemical industries, any other industries. Because chemical industries, why? Because green revolution is there. Green revolution was encouraged, so chemical industries has grown and automobile industries have grown, etc. So this is wrong. So answer is which is incorrect, B. Come to the 93rd question. Consider the following statements regarding impact of economic reforms in India. It has increased the income and quality of consumption of only high income groups. This is wrong, because it has not only increased of high income groups, it increased middle income groups also, capacity of middle income groups also. So it is wrong. So when you remove 1, answer is C. The growth has been concentrated only in few selected areas in service sector. This is true, because IT has been grown a lot, banking sector has grown a lot, but research has not grown. So this is correct. These reforms aggravated the inequality. This is true. Even Oxfam report says that. What it says, Oxfam report, 75% of top population, sorry 10% of the top population earns more than 75% of the country's wealth. It means what? Inequality has grown to the highest level. This was just 6% in 1980. Now it became, the 6% became 75%. Now come to the 94th question. Arrange the following in chronological order. The creation of European Monetary Union, when it is happened, 1979. Adaptation of dollarization of Ecuador, 2000 or 2001. Establishment of World Bank, 1994. Everybody should know this. Smithsonian Agreement, it is in 1971. So if you have to arrange in chronological order, answer will be first 3 and 4. This is answer C. So come to 95th. Who among the following notable economics estimated India's per capita income during the British period? Dadabhai Naoroji, R.C. Datta, Rao, R.C. Desai, Motilal Nehru. You can eliminate Motilal Nehru. So if you eliminate Motilal Nehru, this option will go on. You can take out. And if you know Dadabhai Naoroji, so answer should be A or D. So this also can be eliminated. So 1, 2 is however correct, 1 and 2. So you should know VK or V Rao and RC Datta is right or wrong. So I'll say these 3 and 4 also right. So answer is D. I will give some other names also. Like William Digby also calculated per capita national income, and Finlay Siras also calculated our per capita income. So now next question is 96th. Consider the following statements regarding credit. What is credit? Credit is someone lending you money. This process is known as credit. Okay, it refers to an agreement in which an lender supplies the borrower with money, goods, service in return of profit. This is correct. In return for the promise of future payment. It always makes a person better off as it helps in increasing earning. This is wrong, because there is no guarantee that if someone takes money from you and invest in some share market, tomorrow he may lose that money or he may double that money. The two things can happen. So you cannot say that always is wrong. So answer is A only. So now 97th question. Which of the following statements is or correct regarding definition of workers? The person engaged in economic activities are called workers. True. A person engaged in economic activities, he is engaging in one company to earn money. So this is known as economic activity. Bondage labor is there, right? That is not economic activity, because that is worked for free. So you should know which will come under economic activities. Everybody must be knowing this. I'm just trying to explain. And workers are only those who are paid by their employer for their work. True. Because mothers are there, example, they are not paid, they are not workers. Bondage laborers are there, they are not paid, they are not workers. So answer is C. Come to the 98th question. Which of the following pairs are correctly matched? Activities and sectors. Forestry primary, correct. Storage tertiary, correct, because this is a service. Transportation service secondary, wrong, so answer is A. Come to the 99th question. The restrictive policies of commodity production, trade and tariff pursued by the colonial government adversely affected India's foreign trade. True. India became an exporter of primary products such as, yes, you have to understand that this British government is there, right? They have imposed high duties on our artisan goods or our industrial goods, so that they can't export to the Britain or other countries, because here in India if it is 1 rupee, because of high import duties it will become 200 rupees in Britain. Who will buy for 200 rupees? Nobody will buy. That's how the British has affected Indian industries. Okay, so it has adversely affected Indian foreign trade. True. Now when this is not happening, what happened? These British people has encouraged exports of only raw materials, because this Britain needed raw material for their manufacturing units, so that they can produce this raw material using goods by using these raw materials and export the same thing to India again for the cheaper prices. And now we'll see the questions which used to be exported. Raw silk, true. Cotton, true. Wool, true. Sugar, true. Indigo, you should know. Jute, true. So answer is D. How to guess this answer? It's very simple. If you know indigo, if you remember modern history, in modern history indigo revolt happened, right? Okay, why Britishers forcing the peasants to cultivate indigo on their land? Okay, why they are forcing? Because they want to export that. If you know this, then where is 5? Here 5, here 5, so 3 is automatically right. So 3 is automatically right. You know cotton, obviously cotton was high demand. Indian cotton was high demand, has high demand during those days and even today also. So 2 is correct, 3 is correct, so automatically only option is D. Now we'll see the last question. With reference to the personal disposal income, consider the following statements. You should know what is personal disposal income. The personal disposal income is personal income minus direct taxes. Okay, so it includes all tax payments made by the consumer